we've seen The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, all absolutely abysmal. We've had the only good one, Andor, and now we're on to Ahsoka, which some claim is the show that is finally going to save Star Wars because Dave Filoni is literally the second coming. At least that's how some people perceive him. Yet he's the main writer on shows such as The Mandalorian, which is really, really terrible. So I've got no reason to believe why Ahsoka would be any different, but we have the first critic reactions to Ahsoka, the first 2 episodes, and it's, it's about what you would expect. And just to point out before we read some of these are also people that claimed Obi-Wan Kenobi and Boba Fett and Mandalorian were really, really good. So there's that that kind of puts me at like, yeah, I don't really take anything you say seriously, especially when you've praised shows, especially such as Obi-Wan Kenobi. But we have Collider's Stephen Weintraub, again, someone who praises literally everything. He says, first 2 episodes of Ahsoka are really good. Even if you've never seen Rebels or Clone Wars, it's super easy to follow, yet we also have comments saying, you should watch all of Rebels and Clone Wars. I've seen at least one actress on the show say that what you need to do is watch, how many seasons are there of Rebels and Clone Wars? Was there about 10 seasons all in all? And they expect you to go and sit through that to understand this show, which, no. When it comes to Rebels, most people haven't even seen those shows. So the idea that you're supposed to just go back and watch hundreds of episodes of TV just to... no, that's not something you can do. Again, you have a way, if you want to do that, to introduce the history in some interesting way. Not just go, oh no, you should have watched those 10 seasons of television to understand this. But some people seem to think that's fine. Impressed with the action and how it's all story. No side missions of filler like all we've had out of The Mandalorian. But again, this is based off 2 episodes. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a load of episodes that is all just filler. I would not be surprised. Can't wait to see episode 3. Wish I could watch future episodes on a movie screen. Ahsoka is epic. It's got those classic Star Wars vibes, while also feeling very fresh. The first episode set the scene vividly, with intriguing villains, a complex bond between Ahsoka and Sabine, and some awesome lightsaber duels already. Sometimes that's all they need to do to impress people, is, oh, we've got lightsabers. I just watched the first 2 episodes of the Ahsoka series. It's a true visual spectacle. Rosario Dawson is phenomenal as the titular star, which, from what we've seen of her so far throughout like the live-action Star Wars, in The Mandalorian, there's nothing to her. She's just really bland, really flat, really boring. There's like no character there whatsoever from what we've had in the live-action so far. And, I don't think it's a case of, oh, well, that's because you need to watch Rebels. Again, introducing her into, The Mandalorian from a show that most people haven't seen. You can't just go, oh, well, she's got that's who she is. It's like, yeah, but we haven't seen any of that. There's just nothing to her. Even the trailers we've seen for Ahsoka, again, it just has the same, it's just blandness. Really bland. And it's, I wouldn't say it's Rosario Dawson's fault. It's more of the way she's been directed, clearly. But it's just, down in the dumps, moody, nothing to her. Very awkward. Says awkward things. The fight scenes are epic and heart-pounding. The story has a rich history and great themes about second chances and female empowerment. We haven't had enough of that yet. So, yeah, that's good. The first 2 episodes of Ahsoka are pure Star Wars bliss. This is for Rebels, what I'd hoped Obi-Wan would have been for the prequels. Rosario Dawson shines, but it's Natasha Liu's Sabine who blew me away. Ahsoka is the Disney Plus Jedi epic fans have been waiting for. I'm sure it is. Ahsoka is definitely the sequel to Rebels that Star Wars fans have been waiting for. While it's not perfect, it looks better than most other D+ productions, like Mando and Boba Fett, but not on the level of Andor. And, again, Andor looks great because there's none of this shite. None of this, whatever they use now. Love the focus on Sabine, but can see where casuals get lost. Initial Ahsoka thoughts: Dave Filoni lovingly brings his rebels to life in a story that embraces mythology, magic, and lore in a way that could turn off, say, Andor fans. In the sense that Andor fans have some sort of standard of quality. Slower paced than expected, but still enthralling for this Rebels fan. Natasha is my early MVP. So it seems to just be getting showered with praise. There's very little negativity. Ahsoka is a straight continuation of Rebels, and they're not going to explain a thing. I'm almost certain of that. They're just going to expect that everybody's seen Rebels, and they're not going to try and do something to where you can infer things and figure out, or just have something that gives you an idea of who she is. But I don't think they're going to do that. Feeding the animation fans looking for more with these characters. Otherwise, it moves slowly, but with a great score and occasional action scenes carrying. Optimistic for an exciting series with heavy lifting done in the first 2 episodes. I saw the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka earlier tonight, and it kind of rules. There's a lot of, again, said the same thing about Kenobi. There's a lot of narrative hand-holding early on, but the plot still moves pretty fast. The new villains are equally terrifying and fascinating. Hera and Sabine both rock. I can't wait to see what's next. I enjoyed the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. I'm relieved I recently got into Star Wars Rebels, because this show was made for animation fans. So you're kind of getting a bit of both. People saying, oh, you need to have seen Rebels, and then you have people saying, and not really. So, I don't really know what to make of it. But, I don't know why these critics don't see a problem with it. They don't see an issue with it. It's the same with Marvel films. Most people haven't seen the Marvel TV series, so when you have something in the Marvel films and people don't know what the fuck's going on. So it's the same thing here. You'll still be able to follow along, but it might not hit as hard. More thoughts coming to my TikTok ASAP. In conclusion, women rule. Right. I think we figured out why you liked it then. I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. Rosario Dawson is so at home in her adaptation of the character, but it's Natasha Liu Bordizzo and her Sabine that steals your heart. Can't wait to see her and Ahsoka's full story. Also, multiple Force-sensitive women. Can I get a hell yeah? You can get a I don't give a fuck, but that's about it. My biggest takeaway from the first 2 episodes is I need to watch more things that Sabine and Hera are in, because I love them both. Unsurprisingly, excellent. Just saw the first 2 episodes, great score, and loved all the visuals, especially the fight scenes. Adore the score. This makes me want to revisit Clone Wars, and yes, Rosario Dawson is great. Again, from what we've seen of the trailers, it just looks bland. It's just like nothing to her. No emotion. Looking forward to the rest of the series. I think Ahsoka has a lot of potential. As a Rebels fan, I felt a connection to it that was truly special. And yet it's hugely epic at some times and oddly flat at others. Sabine is a standout through, and by episode 2, I was fully sucked in. It could go south, but I don't think it will. Let's be honest, as most Star Wars shows go, well, I guess The Mandalorian was fine for its very first episode. And that fell off very quickly. So maybe this could be the Marvel thing. Maybe it starts off fine. I would guess if that is the case, it's probably because they don't do much. That's the only reason it would be fine. And then eventually it just falls off. That wouldn't be surprising either, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be terrible from the start. That's my prediction for this show. It's not going to start off well. The first 2 episodes of Ahsoka are incredibly slow and wooden. Rosario Dawson is very flat, as I've mentioned, very flat. Natasha Lou Bordizzo is a standout. Visuals are hit or miss. Some feel low budget at times. Super fans may enjoy the show, but newcomers, casual fans will be lost. And again, that isn't a good thing. The first 2 episodes of Ahsoka are a mixed bag, so we're finally getting a bit of negativity here. A gorgeously crafted continuation of the world and characters from Star Wars The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels mixed with mediocre writing. That is Dave Filoni's bread and butter, from what I've seen of him. That's why I don't understand why people hold him up so highly. He's fucking shit. I mean, we've all seen The Mandalorian. A lot of people didn't realise how shit it was till season 3, but it's always been pretty bad, just not as bad as season 3. And again, Dave Filoni, main writer on it. That's why, again, I've got no reason to believe that he's any good at it, any good at writing whatsoever. I have heard things about Rebels that aren't very good. The characters are not investing yet, particularly the villains. Great potential. I haven't liked all of the Star Wars shows, but I definitely want to watch more of Ahsoka after these two first episodes. Rosario Dawson leads a cast of badass women with her... I don't know why that gets brought up. With a great screen presence, but the real standout is Natasha. So they seem to be going for this person. I don't know who she's playing. Thrilling music and lightsaber fights. Some people enjoy that, I guess. When there's, it's just, just have a lightsaber fight. I enjoyed the first 2 episodes, and the best part about it is that it's focused on telling one grand story. I've never watched the animated show, so I don't know the ins and outs of these characters' backstories, but their dynamics are clear. Well, again, there's things you can do to have their backstories within this show. There is ways to do it. Whether it's things you can that are just implied, or you can infer from it, or you just, I don't know, start off with a Lord of the Rings intro. Just have their backstories there. I mean, if you want to go that route. So there is ways to do it. But, I guess they just assume everybody's seen Rebels, which just isn't the case. A promising start for Ahsoka with many cool story elements that expand the Star Wars universe and feel different from Mando Episode 1. From Mando, Episode 1 has some slow moments involving a MacGuffin, but Episode 2 really gels. Sabine is a standout. I think those meeting her for the first time will really dig her. Ahsoka Episode 1 and 2 are remarkable, incredibly cinematic and fascinating, a pure sci-fi samurai tale that builds off Rebels but furthers characters that we love in a whole other avenue. As a massive Ahsoka Tano fan, this was everything I could want. The first 2 episodes of Ahsoka hooked me. So again, there's really not a lot of criticism at this show, is there? That's what makes me question it. This is not really, it's not really mixed reviews, is it? Definitely a continuation of Rebels, and it's worth brushing up when we last saw everyone. No. That's the quick answer to that. No. I can't take my eyes off Ivana Sacco, and that's the problem you're going to run into with this show. If it is terrible, people are just going to say, oh, well, Rebels. It's like, yeah, I haven't seen that, so it doesn't count. It just doesn't count. But I imagine that's going to be the defense of this show. If it does turn out, terrible is what I'm expecting. If it turns out that way, that's going to be the defense. If we don't understand why Ahsoka does something that she does, people just go, oh, well, because of Rebels. Which, again, you can't do that. You can't rely on that. Would like a loft cat to cuddle this evening. All right, whatever. It might be called Ahsoka, but it's basically a live-action Rebels, and I'm not mad at it. The first 2 episodes made me cheer, laugh, cry, and really want a loft cat. Right, that's the second person that mentioned that. Great lightsaber fights and lots of heart. If you haven't seen the Rebels animated series, watch it now. Again, no. The first 2 episodes of Ahsoka are very good. It really does feel like Star Wars Rebels Season 5, which, again, from some things I've heard about Rebels, that also can't be a good thing. Great news for fans, but others might feel a bit lost at first. Rosario Dawson plays Ahsoka perfectly. Hera and Sabine solid, intriguing villains, adorable loft cats. So that's the majority of our first reactions for Ahsoka. I'm not sold, quite clearly. Because how many times have we had, whether it is Star Wars shows or Marvel shows, where all the first reactions are, oh, it's so amazing, it's so great, you watch it and it's really terrible. So, again, people that praised Obi-Wan, I'm not necessarily going to take anything on board that they say when it comes to Ahsoka. I don't see Ahsoka being any good based on what what's his face has done. I don't see it. I don't think it's going to achieve anything. I don't think it's going to save Star Wars. I don't think anyone's even going to watch it. I mean, nobody watched Andor because of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Boba Fett, even though Andor is the good one. So I don't see, if people didn't even come back for Andor, I don't see for what reason you would come to Ahsoka. After all these terrible shows we've gotten, I just don't see any reason why people would do that. I guess check out the first episode. That would be my assumption people will do. If it turns out to be what my expectation is, I think people are just going to disappear pretty quickly. It's just going to dwindle. I mean, that's already, we've already seen that. Mando season 3 was watched less than Boba Fett. So again, I think when it comes to Ahsoka, I don't think it's going to have that big of an audience. I don't think many people are going to care. And I don't think it's going to be good at all. I think it's just going to be the typical sludge we've gotten from Mando and Obi-Wan and Boba Fett. That's my prediction for what this show is going to be. It just, even based on the trailers, it's just like, all right, you're not really offering anything. You're not offering anything really that interesting. It just seems like, oh, Dave Filoni just wants to get his creations at the forefront of Star Wars. That's all I get from this show. That seems to be what the goal is. Dave Filoni just, again, we've already seen Mando season 3, where, again, whatever a fucking name is, all these names, they put her at the forefront of that as well. Bo-Katan, they put Bo-Katan at the forefront of that show. That's another Dave Filoni creation. So that's kind of what I think the goal is. I think Dave Filoni's just trying to turn Star Wars into his little baby. That's what I think his goal is. But that is the first reactions for Ahsoka. Yeah, I'm not sold.